The wind howled through the trees like a chorus of mourning souls. The forest, ancient and thick, stood in eerie silence apart from that wind, as though the trees themselves were holding their breath. The path was barely discernible, overgrown with brambles and roots that seemed to reach out with twisted fingers. Clara's boots crunched through the underbrush as she moved deeper into the woods, her flashlight flickering with dying batteries. Her phone had no signal, of course. It hadn't since the dirt road ended miles ago. She should have turned back. But she didn't. The cabin was marked on the old map she found in her grandfather's attic, hidden beneath a false bottom in a wooden trunk. The map had no coordinates, only a crooked line of ink that led to a symbol, a square topped with a triangle, and the words, God's Hollow. It was absurd, she told herself. Just an old camp story. A place kids whispered about to scare each other. Her grandfather used to talk about it in his drunken rambles. The place where the trees whispered secrets and the dead never rested. She didn't believe in ghosts, but she believed in family secrets. Twilight bled into full darkness as she reached the clearing. The cabin stood in the center, sagging like a rotting tooth in the gum of the forest. Its windows were black, empty sockets. The door was slightly ajar, creaking on rusted hinges with every gust of wind. Ivy had overtaken much of the structure, crawling up the walls like veins. Clara hesitated at the threshold, heart hammering against her ribs. Something watched her from the trees. She turned quickly, nothing, only shadows and wind. She stepped inside. The floor groaned under her weight. Dust motes swirled in the beam of her flashlight. Furniture lay where it had fallen years ago, an overturned table, a rocking chair missing one arm, a broken oil lamp still holding the scent of kerosene. On the mantel above the fireplace were framed photos, faces blurred by mold. One of them might have been her grandfather, younger, smiling. Clara reached for it, and the floor beneath her gave way. She fell. Darkness swallowed her. She landed hard, the breath knocked from her lungs. When she opened her eyes, she was in a basement, no, a root cellar, dirt walls pressed close, roots hanging like spider legs from the ceiling. She stood, dizzy, brushing herself off. The beam of her flashlight danced wildly. She took a step and froze. A figure stood in the far corner, still, watching. "Hello?" Her voice cracked. No answer. She moved closer, hard in her throat. It was a mirror, not a person, but her reflection, barely discernible in the glass, warped by time. The frame was wooden, carved with strange symbols, runes she didn't recognize. Her breath fogged the surface as she leaned in. The reflection didn't mimic her. Clara stepped back in a rush, tripping, falling again. She scrambled away as the thing in the mirror leaned forward, smiling with teeth too long, eyes too black. She turned and ran. The cellar seemed larger than it had a moment ago. The walls stretching, shifting. Doors appeared where there had been none. Each one was different, one of rotted wood, one iron-bound, one made entirely of bones lashed together with sinew. A low humming began to fill the air, like chanting heard through water. She chose the wooden door and burst through it, emerging into the forest again. But it wasn't the same. The trees were wrong, twisted into impossible shapes, their bark pulsing like skin. The sky was purple and bleeding. Clara turned in circles, disoriented. The cabin was behind her, whole now, pristine, smoke curling from the chimney. She didn't go back in. She ran. Hours passed, days, maybe. Time twisted with the land. She saw things in the woods. A child with no eyes, singing nursery rhymes backwards. A stag standing on two legs, its antlers scraping the canopy. A procession of figures in robes, their faces hidden, walking in a circle around a fire that didn't burn. When she finally collapsed, it was from exhaustion. She awoke inside the cabin. This time, it was her reflection that was gone. The mirror hung in the hall now, and it was empty. When she looked into it, she saw the room, the walls, the floor, but not herself. Only a smear of shadow where her body should be. She backed away slowly, and the smear followed. The cabin began to breathe. Walls pulsed. The floor moved like muscle. A heartbeat filled the space, wet, labored, enormous. Something inside the house laughed, a gurgling, hollow sound that shook the glass in the windows. Clara fled to the upstairs, where rooms multiplied. Hallways curved back on themselves, and doors led to nowhere. Eventually, she found her grandfather's journal. It was bound in leather, damp to the touch. The pages writhed as she opened it. Inside were drawings, sigils, diagrams of the cabin's interior, a map that spiraled inward like a maze. His final entry read, "The cabin remembers. It is not a place, but a hunger. I fed it once. Now it wants her." Clara screamed. The sound did not leave her mouth. She had no mouth. Her face in the mirror was blank now, eyes wide with terror, mouth a smooth patch of skin. She clawed at it, felt no pain, only numbness. The cabin groaned around her. The walls peeled back like skin, revealing tendons of wood and sinew beneath. The air grew thick, impossible to breathe. She dropped the journal. It opened to a new page. "You are inside now. You are part of the hollow." Clara stumbled into the hallway. The mirror showed her now, but she was different. Taller, thinner, eyes sunken, mouth stitched. Behind her, in the reflection, shadows writhed. They were coming. She turned to run, but the door at the end of the hall opened, and light spilled in cold, blue, and unnatural. A figure stood silhouetted there. It looked like her mother. But her mother had died 5 years ago. "Come home," the figure whispered. Clara stepped forward and fell again. This time, there was no bottom, only the mirror, waiting. Like and subscribe